what we're going to be doing tonight is we're going to be learning how to create a mockup. As you can see, this is a mockup of a skate deck. And what I teach my students is that it's always good to show your design in context or what it's going to look like in place. And this is a very basic mockup, but this happens to be a free mockup. It's the one I provide to my students to use for this project. So when we first open it up, we just have these three folders right here. And what we want to do is we want to go into the first folder. In this instance, it's called board. But a lot of times you'll just see it will be called artwork or it won't be in a folder. And you want to look for a file or indication that says change me or your artwork, or basically any little or a layer with this icon right here. This indicates a smart object and it indicates an object that can be changed. So what we're going to do is we're going to actually double click here, double click on the image, and this is our artwork. So we have a couple layers here. We have the example artwork that's on top. We have some plywood if we wanted to keep our plywood. And just to show you a quick demo of how this works, if we just hit Command or Control S right now, because we've changed the file and we're going to save it, and we come back to our Photoshop file, now the board's plywood. So we've updated the artwork. So we come back to our PSB file right here. I'm going to actually go over to Illustrator, and I have some artwork that I'm working on here, and I have some typography that I'm doing, Freedom and Legacy. But today I'm going to work with this Legacy typeface. And I'm going to hit on my computer, I'm going to select it, marquee select in Illustrator, and I'm going to hit Command or Control C to copy it. I'm going to come right back into Photoshop into our smart object. I'm going to hit Command or Control V. I'm going to paste this as pixels. And then it's going to come up with these transform things, and I want to keep those. So I'm going to hold down Shift to rotate at 45-degree angles. I'm going to hold down Shift because in my Photoshop, I have to hold down Shift in order to scale proportionately. And I am running the most recent version of Photoshop. There's just a setting where you can change it to Legacy Transform. So we're just going to get that right here. I'm going to position it where I think I want it. And I'm going to double click to set my artwork. So my artwork is in there. Again, let's do a save. We're going to hit Command or Control S to save our smart object. And we're going to come back to our Photoshop file and we're going to see the legacy on there. It's a little big, might make it a little bit smaller. I'm going to come back over to the smart object here, and you can see when we're in our Photoshop file that it's actually updating our artwork here. You can kind of see the black on the pine. So let's go back into our smart object and we can double click on this icon again and get here. I'm going to select that and hit Command or Control T again just to make this a little bit smaller, I think, and center it up. You see that pink line coming up, that's telling me that I'm in the center of the board, or the center of the artboard. I could bring that down until the horizontal one pops up, but it's not liking me today. So, and then I'm just going to double click and set that. So I want this board to pop a little bit more than just black artwork on the pine. So I'm going to come in here, right on my wood layer, and what I'm going to do is on layer 1, I'm going to double click my layer 1 and call that Legacy. And I'm going to call that Legacy 1. Right above my wood layer, I'm going to click this plus button at the bottom of the panel, and that's going to create a new layer. Now I'm going to do select all, and you can see my background's black. If your background is something other than black, say it's red and blue or whatever, and you just want to reset it back to black, foreground black and background white, you can just click on that little icon up in the corner. And then to switch the two colors, we're going to switch these arrows, and that gets my background black. So we've hit Command or Control A to select all. I'm going to hit Command Delete to fill black. So we're going to stay with layer 1, and we're going to actually call that our background layer. And I'm going to keep that selected. I'm going to come over here. I'm going to hit Command A or Control A if you're on a PC. Command or Control C to copy it. And then I'm going to come back over to my smart object. I'm going to hit Command or Control V, and that's going to paste that on the layer above my background but below my type. Now I'm going to hit Command or Control T as in Tom to give me a free transform. I'm going to rotate this. I'm going to hold down Shift to allow for me to rotate it at a 45-degree angle. And I'm going to hold down Shift and Option to scale this to the center. So that's going to be Alt on a PC, Option on a Mac. I'm just going to get it somewhere down to that size. Double click. Now we're going to come up to our Legacy 1 layer and click on that. And we're going to come over to our toolbar and select the Magic Wand tool. Now, by default, you may have this Object Selection tool. So if we go back to the default and we zoom into our toolbar here, you can see this little arrow down here in the lower right-hand corner. That means there are more tools. So we're going to click and hold on that, and we're going to come down to our Magic Wand tool. Once we're done with that, we can come back. I'm going to zoom back out. And on my Legacy, I'm going to click where there's nothing. I'm going to click once. That's going to select all the area around that black type. Now I'm going to come up to Select and do Select Inverse. Now I'm going to come back down. Now that has selected my type, I'm going to come back down. I can even turn off the little eyeball on Legacy 1. I'm going to come down to my gold leaf layer, and I'm at the bottom of my layers panel. I'm going to add a layer mask by clicking this little icon right here. Click that icon, and what that has done, it has masked out everything but the type, leaving the gold foil as the type. So it's masked out all the outside area of the gold leaf or gold foil, and it's given that look where our type looks like it was laid in gold leaf on top of the black. So I'm going to rename layer 1 to Legacy Gold, and I'm going to hit Command S to save my smart object. Now at this point I'm pretty happy, so I'm going to go ahead and close that. I'm going to close my gold foil, and this is our mock-up. Now there are a few other changes that we can make to strengthen this mock-up. So I don't like the drop shadow. The drop shadow is a little bit annoying to me. It's a little bit too spread out. So what we're going to do is we're going to double click on the drop shadow and the effects, and it's going to bring up this, and I'm going to adjust the size and bring it down, and the distance to bring it in a little bit closer to the board. I'm going to adjust these until, I'm going to move this off to the side, until, I like what I'm seeing. Maybe a little less and maybe a little bit lighter. I'm a fan of doing about 45% on my drop shadows. So you can just select a number and hit 45. Okay, so I'm pretty happy with that. I'm going to go ahead and hit OK. Now, pretty good with the board. So we're going to select that, or close or collapse that folder, and we're going to come into our background color. What I want to do on the background colors, I want to double click on background. And I could come in here and I can just slide along this until I find a color. It really showcases the art without distracting too much. So I kind of like that tan color. So I'm going to leave it the light background. So we're just going to close that. For all intents and purposes, you're done at this point. So hopefully, guys, this has helped you a little bit, understanding how to create a mock-up, how you can manipulate your artwork once you get it into Photoshop, how you can change some of the effects, change the background color, and really get an image that really represents and makes your work look great. So this is a really important tool set to learn and to know how to use. So thank you so much. I hope you have a great evening, and I'll see you in the next one.